The doorbell rang. It was 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. I didn't even have to look out the window to know who it was. I knew the uniform. I knew the clipboard. And I knew the look of absolute confusion that was about to wash over his face. It was the cable guy, again. This was the 8th technician to visit my house in 3 weeks. The 8th one. He was here to fix a set-top box that didn't exist. He was here to repair a signal for a service I had canceled months ago. He was here because a multi-billion-dollar corporation decided to play a game of chicken with me, and they didn't realize I had glued the gas pedal to the floor. They wanted to harass me for pennies? Fine. I decided to bleed them for dollars. Thousands of dollars in wasted man-hours, fuel, and technical support. If you've ever wanted to scream at a call center or watch a soulless company trip over its own shoelaces, pull up a chair. This is how I turned their spam calls into my personal entertainment. Let's rewind a bit. This whole war started with a death, specifically the death of my old clunky television set. It finally gave up the ghost back in 2021. Rest in peace, old friend. You served me well. So like any modern guy living in the 21st century, I went out and bought a smart TV. You know the feeling. Sleek design, 4K resolution, apps built right into the interface. I set it up, connected it to the Wi-Fi, and suddenly I had an epiphany. I looked at my family. My wife was on her iPad. My kids were glued to YouTube. Nobody, and I mean nobody, had touched the actual cable TV remote in years. We were paying for 500 channels of garbage just to watch the same 3 shows on streaming platforms. It was time. I decided to cut the cord. Now, if you live in America, or frankly anywhere on Earth, you know that canceling a service is harder than escaping a maximum security prison. Getting into a contract, easy. They'll roll out the red carpet. Getting out? You have to solve 3 riddles, defeat a dragon, and speak to a retention specialist whose only job is to break your spirit. My setup was complicated. The TV connection was bundled with my phone plan, my internet, and probably my firstborn child. It was a custom relationship plan. Fancy words for trapped. I spent hours on the phone. Sir, are you sure? We can offer you HBO for 3 months. No. Sir, what if we upgrade your sports package? I don't watch sports. I just want internet. It took days, literally days of back and forth, hold music that sounded like it was recorded underwater, and transferring me to supervisors. But finally I won, or so I thought. We converted the connection to a prepaid model and I simply stopped paying. The box went dark. The silence was beautiful. I packed up the set-top box, handed it to the collection agent a few days later, and watched him drive away. Good riddance, I whispered. I was naive. I didn't know that in the corporate world, you're never truly gone. You're just prey. The peace lasted about a week. Then the phone started buzzing. At first, it was just text messages. Please recharge your account to enjoy uninterrupted service. I ignored them. I didn't want service. That was the point. Then the call started. Hello, sir. This is regarding your TV connection. I don't have a connection, I'd say. I returned the box. Oh, okay, sir. I will update the system. Click. 2 hours later. Ring, ring. Hello, sir. Special offer for you. It was relentless. Morning, noon, during dinner, during work meetings. It wasn't the polite relationship team I had dealt with before. These callers were different. They were aggressive. They were loud. Background noise of a crowded boiler room. I started doing some digging. I went full detective mode. Why was I still getting calls after I had officially terminated the contract and returned the equipment? Here is what I found, and this is where the corporate incompetence shines. The cable company, being the cheap behemoth it is, had outsourced their customer retention to third-party call centers. These weren't company employees. These were mercenaries. And here was the kicker. They were working off printed databases. Yes, printed, paper, lists. The list they were using was generated at the beginning of the month. I had disconnected in the middle of the month. To the main company, I was a former customer. To these third-party zombies, I was active customer who hasn't paid yet. I tried to explain this. God knows I tried. I would pick up the phone and say calmly, listen, The list you have is outdated. I returned the box. Check your main system. You know what they said? Sir, the system shows you need to recharge. They couldn't check the main system. They didn't have access. They were just robots reading a script, paid on commission for every person they bullied into paying. Logic had failed. Reason had failed. My phone was ringing 5 times a day. I realized I had 2 choices. 1, change my number, which I've had for 10 years. 2, declare war. I chose war. I realized that if they wanted to treat me like a mindless consumer, I would become the worst kind of consumer, the confused, demanding, technically illiterate consumer. The next time the phone rang, I didn't hang up. I didn't yell. I hit record. Hello, sir? You need to recharge your TV, the voice said. I cleared my throat. Recharge? Oh, thank God you called. I've been trying to watch the news for 3 days. The scammer paused. Yes, sir. If you pay now. Pay? I interrupted, sounding frantic. I'll pay whatever, but the box isn't working. The light is blinking red. I think the satellite is misaligned, or maybe it's the flux capacitor. I don't know. I can't pay if I can't see the picture. Sir, you just need to pay and the signal will come back. No, it's broken. You people sold me a broken box. I demand you fix it first. Send someone out here. How can I pay for a service that isn't physically working? I could hear the gears turning in his head. He wanted the commission, but he couldn't process a payment if the customer claimed the hardware was dead. Okay, sir, he sighed. I will raise a ticket for a technician. Good, I said. Make it urgent. 3 hours later, the first field tech arrived. Let's call him Dave. Dave was a real employee of the main company. He looked tired. He walked in with his tool belt, ready to troubleshoot a red blinking light. I opened the door, a cold beer in my hand. Hey man, I said, want a drink? Dave looked confused. I'm here for the box? There is no box, Dave. He blinked. What? I canceled service 3 weeks ago, returned the equipment, but your third-party call centers won't stop harassing me, so I told them it was broken so they'd leave me alone for a few hours. Dave looked at the empty shelf where the box used to be. Then he looked at me. Then he looked at his tablet, which clearly showed a disconnect order in his system, but a repair order in the other system. He started laughing. He didn't get mad. He gets paid by the hour. He gets paid for the visit, whether he fixes a wire or does absolutely nothing. Man, Dave said, cracking open the soda I offered him instead of the beer. This happens all the time. The call center guys are idiots. We sat there for 20 minutes talking about football. Then Dave stood up. Well, I gotta close the ticket. I'll mark it as customer education provided. He winked. Keep doing it. Maybe they'll learn. Oh, I intend to, I said. And so it began. The loop. A call center agent would call to harass me. I would act distressed, claiming the phantom box was smoking, or making demon noises, or simply looking at me funny. They would book a technician. A technician would arrive. I would greet them like an old war buddy. We'd share a laugh at the corporation's expense. They'd mark the ticket closed. I'd get a few days of silence. Repeat. By the 4th visit, the local dispatch team must have been confused. By the 6th visit, I think I had met half the fleet. By the 8th visit, I calculated the cost. Think about it. The gas for the truck, the hourly wage of the technician, the administrative cost of processing the ticket, the opportunity cost of that tech not fixing a real paying customer's problem. Each visit probably cost the company anywhere from $100 to $200. Times 8. I had burnt through over $1,000 of their operational budget, all because they wouldn't update a printed list. I was single-handedly ruining their local efficiency metrics. And the best part? I had the moral high ground. They were calling me. I was just accepting their offer for support, but every party has to end, and the hangover was coming for them. Visit number 9 never happened. Instead, I got a different kind of call. Hello, is this Mr. Our name? The voice wasn't a call center drone. It was crisp, authoritative, annoyed. This is the regional technical supervisor. Finally, the final boss. Sir, he started, barely hiding his anger. Why do you keep booking technical support tickets? Our technicians are reporting that you don't even have our equipment. You are wasting our time and resources. This is abusive service. I leaned back in my chair. I had been waiting for this conversation. I'm not booking them, I said calmly. Your staff is. That's impossible, he snapped. Why would our staff book repairs for a disconnected account? Because, I replied, dropping the act, your third-party sales team is harassing me 5 times a day. They don't listen when I say I'm disconnected. The only way to get them off the phone is to tell them the box is broken. They booked the ticket, not me. I don't believe you, the supervisor said. We record all calls. So do I said. Check your email. I sent him the folder. Recordings 1 through 8. I had them all. The agents ignoring my pleas. The agents cutting me off. The agents pushing for payments on a dead account. And me politely asking for help with my broken phantom box. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. I could practically hear him clicking through the files. I could hear his blood pressure rising. He realized that if I took these recordings to a consumer protection agency, or hell, just posted them on Twitter, he would have a PR nightmare on his hands. I see, he finally said. His tone had changed. It wasn't angry anymore. It was defeated. I want the calls to stop, I told him. I don't care how you do it. Fix your database. Fire the vendor. Burn the list. Just make it stop. Or I will book a technician every single day until you go bankrupt. He didn't argue. I will handle this personally. You won't hear from us again. He was a man of his word. The call stopped instantly. Not phased out. Stopped. Dead. It was as if my name had been scrubbed from the universe. I imagine there's a note on my file now. Somewhere in their database, in big bold red letters, it probably says, do not call, do not engage. He will send a technician to your house. Occasionally, maybe once every 6 months, a rogue call slips through. Some new newbie with an old list. I just smile, pick up the phone and say, you know, funny you called. My box is making this weird hissing sound. Usually they hang up before I even finish the sentence. The lesson here? Big corporations are like big ships. They don't turn easily. Sometimes you can't stop them with logic. Sometimes you have to let them crash into the rocks of their own stupidity. If you're dealing with spam calls, don't get mad. Get creative. Waste their time. Ruin their metrics. Make it more expensive for them to call you than to leave you alone. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed watching a billion-dollar company lose money, hit that like button and tell me in the comments. What's the pettiest thing you've ever done to a bad company? I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to cut the cord.